Hello everybody, September 1st, 2011. Well, I got some good news and I got some bad news. Which one do you want first? Okay, I'll give you the bad news first. The bad news is that while silver and gold rise, they're correcting themselves to the value they should be because they're priced in dollars. And the US dollar is losing its purchasing power year after year as the wealth that Americans have accumulated over time is being stolen from them through inflation, a hidden tax. Now, for those of us involved in precious metals, we understand what's happening. We can protect ourselves with real money, while the paper monopoly, imaginary money, and the electronic digits and the computer systems doesn't have any value, and people put so much faith in it. The whole thing is getting to the point where we have, last time I heard, it's like a $1.4 quadrillion derivative market. Trying to understand what that is and how big that is almost impossible. Everything's been played off of each other. Every security and asset, it's all been played off of what something else is going to do, like mortgage-backed securities and all these different derivatives that have been created. The whole thing is going to come down, and the Federal Reserve, they've already shown their hand. Bernanke's shown his hand. He doesn't want deflation. He'll do whatever he can to create more inflation. We're going to have QE3 at some point. The dollar is going to keep losing its value, and we're going to be having these trillion-dollar deficits year after year. I don't count on Congress to do the right thing, cut spending. They got us into this mess. They care about votes. They care about keeping their jobs. They don't care about what's good for this country. So we're going to continue to have these trillion-dollar deficits. We're going to have more and more debt. This is unsustainable, and one of the best ways that I've found to protect myself and my family is by acquiring precious metals. This is what's been done throughout history. Whenever a fiat money system collapses, paper money always collapses. It usually lasts about 40 years. Well, we just had our 40th birthday. It always collapses, and the US dollar will collapse at some point. I mean, I've been saying that for 3 years. I've been reading about it for 6 or 7, and I see there's been people talking about it for 10 to 15. It just doesn't happen overnight, and who knows exactly what's going to happen when it does collapse. Whether we go on a world currency, an Amero, go on a gold standard, don't know exactly what's going to happen. I just know that I'd rather be holding gold and silver than paper money or a bunch of electronic entries in some computer system somewhere. So that's the bad news. It's actually sad for the people that don't understand what's going on, because a lot of them possibly lose everything they've worked their whole life for because they don't understand what's happening with the US dollar. It's one of the most important things to know about. I used to be involved in sports, and I grew up in professional sports. Father worked in a professional sports team. I worked for a professional sports team. My brother worked for a professional sports team. Those were all 3 different teams, 2 in football, 1 in baseball. And to me, that was important when I was younger. Nowadays, since I've understood what's happening and how important this is, I don't particularly spend a lot of time watching sports anymore. This is so important, and I've tried my best over the last couple years to inform people of what's happening. Most people, they don't want to hear it. The government always works things out, or they just don't have time to worry about these type of things. Well, that's fine. I mean, you end up being a result of your own choices in the end. So anyway, enough of that. We do have some good news. I mean, get ready for some silver fall madness. we're going to have some silver fall madness. Silver is ready to attack that $50 level again. We've been in a nice uptrend for the last 3 months, working our way back up from 33 to 41. So people said the bubble popped when we hit 50 and dropped 33. I think they've already been proven wrong. They're definitely going to be proven wrong when the 50-day moving average crosses the 100-day, which we were 4 cents away from at one point today. It's called the Golden Cross. Last time that happened was in September last year, when we went above 18 and took off and ended up at near 50. 6 months later. That was the last time the 50-day crossed the 100-day. It's a technical indicator that usually shows a bullish trend, and the average price for 50 days becomes a higher price than the 100-day. It shows you're getting more momentum in the upswing. So with that in mind, we're ready to attack it, and I think this time we'll take it out. Now, I was listening to some guy who said, taking out the $50 level, there's really no reason that should happen. We shouldn't even be where we are now. The only reason we went to 50 in 1980 was because of manipulation, the Hunt brothers buying up all the silver and cornering the market. It's pure manipulation, took us there last time, and we shouldn't even be there this time. Well, for their information, people who believe that nonsense, the inflation adjusted high for silver is $130. So until we reach 130, we're not even at that level we were at then. And things are so much different now, with so much less silver available now for investment than then. The fundamentals are totally different. I can't go into all of them now. I've covered them over and over again. It's fun to argue with people about silver and gold, because most of them, the people that will argue with you, are ones who haven't done their homework. They'll just argue with you, just try and explain to you why things are in a bubble, or why gold and silver have no value, why they're just some metal that lays on the ground. I mean, this is the funniest arguments. I love debating people about precious metals, and anyone who has done their homework and studied precious metals most likely will agree with you, and they're not going to debate you. So, really interesting thing. I'd like to leave you with the fact that how many people really think of what it means when they're holding this in their hand, that they could actually be holding something that, according to the USGS, the United States Geological Survey, says that could be extinct, could be the first metal knocked off, the first element knocked off from the periodic table and go extinct by 2020. Could be silver. It's just totally unbelievable. It just adds to everything else that's going on. I mean, that information came out a couple years ago. I just thought I'd throw that in there as a reminder to people that when they're holding silver in the hand, could actually be the first thing that's wiped off from the periodic table.